The team is broken up. The family is broken up. Society is broken up in so many ways, shapes, and forms. There's going to be a lot of people coming into church over Christmas. Please, please pray and do all you can to welcome them when they come to church. Don't get mad at them because they've taken your parking spot. Rejoice. And invite them in to become mindful and faithful to our God of faithfulness to come and to save us. There's so many, I keep questioning why. How do you do it without this? How do you do it without God continuing to come in and flood you and fill you in your life? We got to get the team back. We got to have the team as one. How do we do that? We become mindful and faithful. And also, we have to become, in our mindfulness to the faithfulness of God, we need to become planted. We read about that in the first reading today, as Nathan prophesies to David about how God will plant his house. And I have a friend, he's a Franciscan priest. And this man has touched millions and millions of people's lives. When he was 19 years old, he didn't know if God was real or not. So what he did is he said, I'm going to find out if God's real. I'm going to go out to the woods, and I'm going to wait there until I get an answer. God, are you real? So he planted himself, and he went out like 8 o'clock at night, nothing happening, seeking God, 9 o'clock at night, nothing happening. God, are you real? 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, nothing happening. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, God came to him and showed him his love and revealed his presence, and it changed his life forever. And because of his saying yes to the priesthood, following that, he's changed millions of lives forever because he planted himself. He said, God, I want to answer, and I'm not going to leave until you show me if you're real or not. Is God real to you? Because if he's not real to you, then what is our life? We plant ourselves. We say, I'm going to be here until you show me if you're real or not. And I'm going to be here until you disappoint me. And guess what? He's never disappointed me. He has never let me down in all these years. God, to plant ourselves and say, you show me yourself. I will not leave until you do. He says, through Nathan, to David, I will build. I will give you rest. I will protect you from your enemies. I will protect you from poison and sin and death. And my kingdom will last forever. I will do this. I will build. And that's what happens when we plant ourselves in God. But if we don't, then we will be used and we will be forlorn. And this is the good news. And as we plant ourselves, we take the position of Mary, our mother. We get to experience what she experienced. And the angel Gabriel comes to Mary and says, behold, you will conceive and bear a son. You shall name him Jesus. Do not be afraid. Brothers and sisters, do not be afraid. Do you know that phrase was never said before Adam and Eve fell in the garden? There was no fear. There was no need to say, do not be afraid. But as soon as that happened, then the prophets and the kings and the biblical figures heard that often from a messenger, an angel, revelation, do not be afraid. Do you know how many times that is found in the Bible? 365 times. Do not be afraid. One for each day of the year. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to be mindful. Do not be afraid to plant yourself in front of God and stop giving him the minimum and move towards giving him the maximum. See, I don't think 1 hour out of 168 hours a week is going to do it in this world. Are you serious? Or is this just something, a formality that's a cold formality that we go through? Do not be afraid. So afraid of spending time with God and what he has for us. Because the angel goes on to say, you have found favor with God. And brothers and sisters, you have found favor with God. You have found favor, you have found friendship, and you have found forgiveness with God. Do you employ that in your family? Leaders of families, do you employ that? We're going to talk about friendship, favor, and forgiveness. How do we need to be better friends to one another? How can we show more favor? How can we ask for forgiveness? If you think everything's all right, just sit down in your family and do that. And you'll know, and you'll find out everything's not all right. So this is the gift. And we're mindful of the gift, we're faithful to it, and we're going to plant ourselves in that. And we're going to stop running in fear, and we're going to say, we have found God has given us his favor, his friendship, his forgiveness, to be found in that. There's only one team. It's all of us. Be mindful of that. Be faithful to that. Be planted in that. This is God's will for us in Jesus Christ, to know his favor.